Well, I thought I would just jump on and do a quick one. And a shout out to Gwen. Got to meet with her and Jason last week. That was awesome. And she made the offhanded compliment or comment that as I was asking her about the podcast, and she was like, "Well, I only listen to your solo ones." I'm like, "No, that's the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. They're much more interesting if you listen to the podcast that I have guests on." But anyway, that was incredibly kind and sweet of you, Gwen. So since I'm recording a solo podcast right now, um, you'll probably listen to it and get the compliment. But yeah, I haven't recorded since last Friday. Um, shit, it's gonna get emotional now. Let me try not to. Um, Went to a concert in Portland. Got to see the band Hatebreed, who I'd never heard of. And I'll um, try to make this brief because I'm going to record a podcast with Jason in like 2 weeks, I think, assuming everything works out. Um, my friend Jason, who I went to high school with, we were in the same class. Both graduated from Canby in 1990, and I should get a little closer to the mic so I don't have to yell. Um, yes, and I'm wearing the Tom Brady shirt. Yes, all hail No Shoes Nation. Tom Brady is the best. Kenny Chesney rules, and Gillette Stadium is the best. Go Patriots. So yeah, same class with Jason. He lives in Central Oregon, and if I'm getting the facts right, which I think I am, he's currently in stage 4 cancer, but he's still fighting it, still going through chemo treatment and stuff. But obviously the prognosis is not good. So his amazing friend, who I'd never met until last Friday, Melody, who I think is also, I think is his roommate. I think I caught that. She organized because Jason's birthday was the Saturday, this past Saturday. Guess I should get the dates right just for posterity. So that would have been Friday the 18th was the concert for Hatebreed, and then I think Jason's birthday was the 19th. That's Saturday. So she organized and did this in advance and reached out to just a bunch of friends and said, "Hey, Jason wants to go see Hatebreed," and it happened to be their 30th anniversary tour. Um, Again, I'd never heard of the band. It's a metal band, lots of screaming, but good music. But apparently they started in, I guess that would be 1994, right? So 94, 2004, 2014, 2024. Yes. So 30-year anniversary tour. And they were playing at the Roseland Theater. So his really good friend Melody reached out to just anybody that was interested, and it ended up being, gosh, I don't remember the exact head count, but there was at least 8 or 10 people that showed up. Not, I couldn't be there on Saturday because I had to work, but there were people that couldn't make the concert, but probably showed up Saturday, so it was fucking cool. Um, Melody and Jason came over on Friday during the day. They got a room at the Embassy Suites, right off of Burnside in Portland, which is like 3 blocks from the Roseland Theater. So I drove down there and fought traffic and met them at the Embassy Suites. I literally had not seen Jason for 34 years, since our senior year in high school, and it was amazing. It was like no time had passed. Gave him a hug, and then there was other people there that I knew at Embassy Suites. They were 2 years younger than me, but they went to Canby High School, so I got to meet them. And one of them, his older sister was in my class, so that was cool. And then our other friend Andrew, that was in me and Jason's class, he just went straight to the venue. I think we met him there. We're old, we're 50s plus, and not doing the mosh pit thing. So that is one thing I like about the Roseland Theater, is it does have the balcony section. So you can go up there and actually get a seat and just chill and enjoy the music without having to deal with the kids on the ground. So we went upstairs, and Andrew was already there with his friend, which he called his emotional support person. And it was a joke because I asked him if he could handle two people that needed support at the same time. And I forgot his name, but you were awesome. And so eventually, I think there was 4 bands that played. I didn't realize how many bands were going to be there. In fact, there was an all-female metal band called Crypta that opened up. And then the next band that came on, I thought that was Hatebreed because I'd never heard them or seen them before, but it wasn't. There was 3 opening acts. I couldn't end up staying because I had to work the next day. So I didn't actually get to see Hatebreed, but I saw all of the first 2 band sets and a little bit of the third band set before I had to leave. But it was freaking amazing. Eventually, Jason wandered up to the balcony, and as I think I was getting out of my seat to go to the bathroom because anyway, I saw him, and he was like, "Oh, we're up here," so it was perfect. Got a great photo. He set with the Canby Peeps, and looked like it was an amazing night, and I had a great time. Really good to connect with him, and now I'm gonna go over to Central Oregon where he lives the day after Halloween. That's a Friday, and we're gonna record a podcast because I just want to catch up. And gosh, obviously he has stories to tell, so that's gonna be amazing. That was my first inspiration for starting this solo dribble podcast. The other thing was, I was trying to, I worked today. Got home, I actually did some grocery shopping. I'm trying to do some food prep. Got something in the oven currently. Starting to wonder if there's something wrong with the oven because it's been in there for like 50 minutes and it should have already reached 160 degrees, but it's not. So anyway, but I was just in my room plucking around, and musician friends, I have questions, which maybe this would be a good time to give a shout out to all of the musician friends that I have recently met and some that I've known for a long time. Got it, it's even in tune. I promise I'm not going to play much. That would be so annoying. But if I happen to strum a few chords, I want to make sure they're actually in key, or in tune, sorry. All right. Yeah, I should give a shout out. I have made contacts with and met some amazing local musicians that everybody should know about. And I realize I have no listeners or subscribers. Well, I'm sorry. I do have some subscribers, and I'm very appreciative of that. But nobody sees my podcast. But anyway, first and foremost, of course, a big shout out to Sparrow Wren. She gave me the opportunity to play out for the first time. Took a break halfway through one of her sets at a local tap room and caught me off guard and was like, "Do you want to do a couple?" And she caught me off guard, and I'd had a beer, so I was like, "Oh, sure." And I'm sure I ruined her set, but that was amazing. And then Dan Dingman, another local musician who's doing an open mic up in Yakult at a place called Fargo Lake House. When I found out about that in September, I went up to the open mic, and he let me do 3 songs. That was the first time I actually did it like on my own with an intent to play. And I'm sure I sucked, but it was an amazing experience. So Sparrow, Dan Dingman, Kylie Jean, another local artist who she is releasing some new music. I think it's an original album. It's all original, and I believe she's releasing it. But her album release party is going to be Halloween night up at Fargo Lake House. So I'm going to get there early. We're going to record a podcast before her set and kind of talk about her musical journey and her origin story. And hopefully her amazing husband, Ryan, will jump in on the podcast. I'm going to bring a third mic. And then I think she's the manager of the Fargo Lake House, Rachel. is maybe going to jump on too and try to do some cross promotion, because I love the space, what they're doing with it. They have a lot of live music there, and it's a beautiful location, and it's just a nice drive, way north of Battleground. Not way, but it's a nice drive going north from Battleground to when you get there. So, Rachel, I appreciate the fact that you're letting us do the podcast there. So we will do that, and then I'm going to try to record Kylie's actual set. I'm going to try to do a live recording, and I'll use it as a podcast, and she can use it for whatever promotional stuff she wants to. So that's been amazing. So we're at Sparrow, Dan Dingman, Kylie Jean, and then Lucas Holmgren, who I saw the first time last year at M&R Cellars. And I'll give a shout out to M&R Cellars, because they have been amazing, and they sucked me into becoming a wine club member, because it's actually really easy and cheap. But they host a bunch of live music, but it's a very small wine tasting room in Battleground, and it's just like solo acoustic stuff. Or sometimes they'll have two people come in, but it's it's an intimate venue. It's not a full band, but they have live music almost every weekend, maybe every weekend. The owners have been amazing to me. The staff have been amazing. We've become fast friends. They always make me feel welcome. But yes, I saw Lucas Holmgren there last summer, and then I went back and saw him with my daughter, with Kristen. I think, yeah. You were there that night. That was the night you drove up and met me. It was with Lucas, and it was a great set. Lucas is awesome. I love your music. You have an amazing voice. Very talented. And who else? Oh, God, there's people that are going to punch me through the camera, because I've seen Flying Caravan, which is a full band, but they also do like acoustic sets where it's just the singer and the guitar player, and I don't know their names, but they were amazing. I got to go there and see them also at M&R Cellars, that tasting room in Battleground. M&R Cellars, they specialize in Spanish wine that you can't just find anywhere. It's good stuff. So yeah, shout out to Richard, the owner, and your amazing wife, whose name I don't know if I've ever heard, or I just can't remember, but thank God for her. She keeps you on track. And then the staff is amazing. Jody and Kimmy and Kiri, who sings in the kitchen when she's making food. And there's another awesome employee there who I have met, but I don't remember her name. Yeah. So anyway, love that place. You should check out M&R Cellars. It's a really cool spot, and they are good people. So was there any other local musicians? Oh, Frank Murray. Frank Murray, amazing person. He collaborated with Sparrow on their original music project called Feather and Fur. They released 9 songs. And I got to do several podcasts with him. And Frank is just a sweetheart. Love him to death. He actually works out at my same 24-hour fitness here, so I do see him there occasionally. I try not to bother him, because it seems like I randomly bump into him too often, and I don't want it to get awkward. I'm not a stalker, Frank. I just like you. And if we're talking about musicians, the whole origin story of this, I have to get a shout out to Jason Moore. Met him my freshman year of college down at Western Oregon in Monmouth. Randomly, we ended up being roommates. He's a guitar virtuoso, and we spent that freshman year. He tried to teach me electric guitar, and then I kind of dropped it for a while and eventually picked it up many years later. I've told the story in the podcast probably, but he is still my guitar instructor. And I've taken a couple lessons from him, but he's just an amazing person, really awesome guitar player, really good person, and I definitely want to go down and take some more lessons from you. I have kept practicing this acoustic thing. I'm getting better than the last time you saw me. I feel like I'm at confessional now. But yeah, I definitely have to give a shout out to Jason Moore for the influence that you had on me, man. And then as far as the podcast, shout outs to Lowell and Nick, who helped me with my video issues, help me solve the lagging thing, because I just had a crappy webcam and I just needed to pony up the dough and get a little bit better one. Doesn't have to be too expensive, but it probably shouldn't have been $30. I guess that was the first red flag. So, oh, and the inspiration for even doing this was as I'm waiting for this this food prep to cook that doesn't seem to want to get to 160 degrees. I was just noodling around on the guitar, and it just caught me that, I started off trying to do Pink. You took my hand, you showed me how, you promised me you'd be around. That's right. So what I noticed was, and this is going to seem like a no-brainer and probably like a duh moment to any actual musicians that are listening to this or ever listen to it. It is so emotion connected, and headspace connected. Like, I'm just going to take this off so I can rant. If you're, and I'm actually just asking questions. I don't know if it's like this for every artist or musician, but whether you're an author or a painter, or you're in a band, there are sometimes I grab that guitar and I try to play, and I'm just not, and just nothing's working. It's like my fingers won't work even on the songs that I know I can play. And you're trying to focus. It really is it's almost like you have to be in the right headspace, sometimes even to practice. Although I have learned that sometimes you have to it has to kind of be a job. You have to make time to rehearse and make time to practice. Because if you just wait for inspiration, that's never going to happen. But yeah, it's weird. Depending on what mood I'm in at the moment, it might not always be a good time to practice. And sometimes, when I first grab it, it doesn't feel good. But then after going through a song or two, like all of a sudden something grabs me. Maybe it's a song I listened to on the way home, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn that. I want to find a tutorial video for it. Yeah, but it fucking sucks, actually. This thing that probably all artists, but I can only relate to musicians. Whatever the muse is, as Rogan likes to say, sometimes it grabs you, and sometimes you're just not feeling it. And I guess that's what I was going to say, was you kind of have to feel it to do it. Having a schedule would be nice, kind of like my job. If I could count on the fact that, I get off early on Tuesdays and I have Thursdays and Fridays off. If I could just schedule my practice sessions like at Tuesday at 5 p.m. because I'm off work, or Thursdays at 10 a.m. because it's my day off, that'd be awesome. I wish I could just schedule that. But there's a lot of Thursdays at 10 a.m. that I don't feel it. And bad practice is not good. Like, if you're going to practice, you can't just go through the motions. 10,000 repetitions to master any skill. But if you're just doing 10,000 repetitions of bad practice, then you're learning how to play the guitar bad. I want to learn how to play the guitar good. So I have to be in a good place when I'm practicing, or I'll just learn bad habits. And that's probably true about any discipline or any skill. If you want to be a sharpshooter, you have to have your head right. If you're just practicing to practice, and you're not squared away, then you're teaching yourself bad habits, I guess is what I'm saying. So, and again, it's not just defined, sorry, I'm going to go check the food. It's not just about music specifically or whatever, but I don't know. When it comes to artistic stuff, I guess you should have some grace with that. And obviously, if you're talking about your job or commitments, responsibilities, real life, family stuff, yes, you have to show up, no matter how you're feeling. So I don't know where I was going on that rant, but also it popped into my head. Another musician shout out. Definitely lots of love for JC Proof. The band has always been amazing to me. They're the ones that rehearse at Chris and Alex's house. They're sweethearts and very supportive, and I love what Chris and Alex are doing, supporting local music too, and letting them rehearse there every week. It's a good vibe. So I'm gonna go check on the food. I probably rambled and ranted too long, but it was therapeutic, as some people would say. All right, have a good night. Love you all, and hope to see you soon.